Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user ThrowArrayNoTrad. Am I the a-hole for saying if my wife wants to be a trad wife, then she must always look her best, wait on me, and provide sex without question when asked? I'm 35 and my wife is 40. We've been together 15 years. The last couple of years, she's really fell down the trad wife black hole and it's driving me crazy. At first, it started off with her saying she doesn't want to work anymore, and lately it has escalated to saying men who make their wives work are abusive. We both have well-paid jobs. I'm a self-employed builder with a team and earn around £100,000 a year. She works in management for the NHS and earns around £50,000 a year. We both work, I guess I should say worked for her, really hard and have no kids, and 3 years ago managed to pay our mortgage off and lived in a nice enough area where I would have happily stayed forever. She, however, suddenly wanted a massive house that we didn't need. I should have seen what was coming. She was looking at £700,000 houses, which would require a mortgage of £500,000 after we sold our house. I gave in and we bought a house. She then wanted a new car, which again I caved to, and she got a car that is worth more than she earns a year. She then decided she didn't want to work anymore. She said her job was crap, and I said take a lower paid one and then you'll enjoy more. She said no, she just doesn't want to work, full stop. She also doesn't want to give up anything she has. Over the past couple of years, it has been obvious she is trying to lose her job without leaving, despite me saying that I can't afford the house and car and holidays on my own. She started bringing this trad wife crap up, but said she'd want to hire a cleaner as the house is too big for her to clean alone and she prefers my cooking to hers, so I'll still do all the cooking. So I said, basically, you want to dress up pretty and bake the odd cake. She stormed off and said that I don't get it. She again brought it up yesterday and I said, fine, she can do it. But she's got to get up before me and make sure my breakfast is ready, like in the videos she watches. She's got to be dressed as a sexy version of a 50s housewife, like in the videos she watches from the moment I open my eyes to the moment I close them. The house must be spotless at all times, like in the videos she watches. I want huge packed lunches for work, like in the videos she watches. I want to come home and have beautiful pies and cakes ready for pudding, like in the videos she watches. I want a bath ran for when I get in and then come down to a proper meal every night, like in the videos she watches. I then want a foot rub while I eat the cakes and pies she makes, like in the videos she watches. I also want sex on demand, how I want it, when I want it, like in the videos she watches. She called me abusive, a user, sexist, etc., and stormed out to her equally delusional sister's house. Don't get me started on her. I'll be honest, I'm ready for divorce if this carries on. Am I the a-hole? OP, I don't think you're the a-hole at all. I think you're just trying to play her own game as she wanted it because, well, she demanded luxuries, pressured you into debt, and now expects to quit work without sacrificing her lifestyle. And not just that, she wants an improved lifestyle, like the styles of the rich and famous or something like that. And I think that what you're doing by calling out all these things is just trying to bring her back to reality, which she refuses and apparently went to her sister's house to stay in Fantasyland. Now, if you're ready for divorce because of this and because she simply refuses to live in reality, then you need to stop debating with her fantasies and start protecting your future. Sit down with her, talk about finances, expectations, and consequences. And if she still doesn't want to live in reality, well, then I guess you have to do what you've got to do. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Casual J says, get the divorce, mate. It'll be cheaper and less stressful than dealing with a crazy wife every minute of the day and night. It's not about the trad wife lifestyle. She simply doesn't want to work. She merely wants to sit on her backside, enjoy the things she has badgered you into paying for, and do nothing. There is a lot of this kind of crazy going around. It won't get any better either. What will it be next? Vacations on the French Riviera? A bigger, nicer, more expensive car? The list goes on and on. And Dopey responds, I am leaning this way, mate. I think a divorce is more likely than anything else at this moment in time. Luckily, she's afraid of flying, so I've managed to avoid the expensive holidays apart from the odd Eurostar trip to Paris. She makes me feel like a 10-pound millionaire through trying to be something we aren't. I know we are better off than most, but we don't earn footballers' money, which is what I think she aspires to. With my job, we could have bought a cheese house, done it up and made some money, and then moved upwards slowly and stayed debt-free. I have modified our house a bit, and it's probably worth £800,000 now, but it's still not a nice feeling having such a big mortgage and knowing she wants me to cover it alone. Proper Hedgehog 3579 says, sounds like she got the trad wife and trophy wife lifestyles mixed up. Original Brainy Banana says she doesn't want to be a trad wife. She wants to enjoy early retirement on someone else's dime. I, female, had a partner, male, like that too. He just stopped working and pretended to look for work while I paid for everything for years. He then told me I was sexist because if he had been a woman and I was a man, it would be normal, or so he claims. We don't have children either. Anyway, it got complicated, but I managed to end things and kick him out. Don't be like me and don't tolerate the lack of active participation in the household for even 1 minute, as it gets much harder and more expensive to end things later on. And Opie responds, you are right, and I'll be honest, all I'm thinking about at the minute is just divorcing her and cutting losses before I really am left with nothing. It might also jolt her into reality when she has to work to survive. And Horror BB Screams says, I don't have any issue with a woman wanting to be a trad wife and wanting to stay home and be soft and feminine, I guess, but she does have to contribute to the relationship somehow, and correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't being a trad wife entail domestic contribution? Cooking and cleaning are part of the role, no? I take a lot more issue with her desire to spend all your money to live above your means and not contribute in any meaningful way. She doesn't want to be a trad wife, she wants to be a sugar baby. Divorce her and set her free. Let's see if she successfully finds herself the sugar daddy of her dreams. And Dopey responds, I agree with you completely. I have no problem with it if it's an affordable lifestyle. If we stayed at our old house, I could afford it. Now we have a £2,500 a month mortgage and £700 car payments. That's $32,000 a year straight away. I think she wants to be a sugar baby, but I don't want to be a sugar daddy. I want an equal partner. Well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and that the wife is kind of delusional. She's living in fantasy land. And apparently it seems that divorce is set on OP. So let's move on with the first of two updates to see what happened next. I'd like to answer a few questions from my first post before an update. No, my requests were not serious, and I can't believe how many people thought they were. It was me trying to prove a point of how ridiculous she was being. Like I said in the comments, I don't want a maid or a slave, I want a partner. Before my wife got on this train, she was a very ambitious, career-driven person who wanted to climb to the top. She was never really on social media until the pandemic. The trad wife thing started a couple of years ago. A lot of people suggested couples counseling. I've asked many times and always get the same response. I don't need counseling, there's nothing wrong with me. On to the update now. We spoke Saturday morning and I told her that I can't go on like this. I said to her bluntly, the trad wife thing is never happening and she either accepts it and we go to couples counseling or we split up. I'm not dancing around her BS. She chose to split up. I asked her if she even really wanted to be a trad wife or if she's just trying to force me away like she's trying to force her job to sack her because she doesn't have the balls to quit herself. She said yes, she does, and there's plenty of dating sites that cater to this dynamic. I told her I'd seen them and they are more sugar daddy dynamics, and without being horrible, she's too old for that. This set her off. She said I'm wrong and that I'm the one who can't support my wife, so I'm the bad one in the marriage and a real man would be able to give her the life she wants. She was shouting and screaming this at the top of her lungs. It's about the only time I've been glad to be in our house so the neighbors didn't hear. I got a bit petty at the real man comment and said, "You can't cook, you can't clean, and you don't have sex. What part of being a trad wife do you offer?" I then stole a comment from my last post and said she doesn't want to be a trad wife, she wants to be a trophy wife. It's heartbreaking, really. She was loving, funny, sweet, kind, fun, ambitious, and hard-working woman who played hard. She was daring and confident. The pandemic came, she spent all day watching videos on her phone and just became really bitter with life and people. So now, I'm bitter I lost the woman I love. I'm bitter we took a £500,000 mortgage only for her to announce a couple of months later she no longer wants to work and I have to shoulder that responsibility alone to keep a roof over our heads. I'm bitter that when I said I wasn't comfortable with that, I was labeled an abuser. Anyway, she just said I'm unbelievable and has gone to her sister's again. I'm going to take the next couple of weeks and start talking to a divorce lawyer to see what this entails. Then, once this ball has got rolling, I'm effing off to Portugal for a couple of weeks to myself. Well, it sounds like OP has made his mind. So now let's move on to the final update to see how this story ends. I'm 35, my ex-wife is 40, and we have no kids. About 2.5 months ago, I posted about my wife leaving me because I refused to live the trad wife lifestyle. In my original post, I mentioned the big house and car she got me in debt for over £500,000 and then decides she didn't want to work anymore. So, starting with the car. After she left, I took half our savings and half the money in our joint account and put it in my own bank account. I then told her to take the rest, around £60,000, and she can either pay off the car with the money or keep the money and I'll take the car back as it's in my name. She said neither, she's keeping both. This has been a struggle that ended with me having to ring the police to assist me in taking the car back. I got there and the police were already there. My ex was crying. The two police officers looked at me like I was a piece of crap. My sister-in-law was shouting, "Yeah, take her independence and go back to your mansion while she sleeps in the spare room." The neighbors were all out looking. I very nearly caved and told her to just keep the car, but it's £1,500 a month I can't warrant. I took it, sold it, and had to pay £12,000 difference in what I owed on it. I'll be honest, I was expecting worse. Now, the house. We paid £700,000 for it, with $200,000 down. I've spent about $100,000 on it doing it up, and when I got valued, I was pleasantly surprised at £1 million. And even more surprised that within 2 weeks of it going on the market, it sold to one of my neighbors. A lovely Indian family who asked me to work on their house, but they said it's just easier to move into mine. They do, however, want me to build a granny annex on the side once they've completed the purchase. That'll be another couple of months yet, but we'll both walk away with around $250,000 each, and I'll be looking to buy a house for around $200,000, so I'll be back to mortgage-free and debt-free in a couple of months. Now, on to my wife. She's still living at her sister's and, as far as I'm aware, hasn't found anyone who wants a 40-year-old trad wife who doesn't cook, clean, or have sex. She has asked me back twice, but I've said no. One was a drunken proposition, the other a more heartfelt. It's too late now, though. We've already started the divorce proceedings, and that should be done early next year. All I've been doing is working and plodding along. Nothing else I really can do. Thank you so much. Well, Opie, of course it sucks when a relationship ends like this, but at this point you guys just were completely incompatible anymore. So here's wishing you the best in the future, Opie. Hopefully you find that cheese house that you want. I looked them up online. They're quite cute. Thanks for sharing, Opie, and take care. And now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user Grandkiano. Am I the a-hole? I called my sister shady for trying to sell a television that was still mounted on my wall on Marketplace. My 30 female sister, 28 female, lived with me in my current house over 2 years ago. She since has moved out. She left behind some belongings. One of them was a 40-inch smart TV that she left mounted to the wall of her old bedroom, which is now my downstairs living room. Me and my partner, as well as her son, my nephew, 4, use it daily. She has mentioned the TV a few times over the years but never really stressed it. Lately, my sister has come into some big financial issues and needs help. My boyfriend and I help as much as we can. It's important to note that nobody else in our family will help my sister with money anymore due to her not paying back small debts. Therefore, I am really the only person who gives her any financial support. Most recently, I bought her an iPhone on Marketplace for $200 because hers was broken. I have not asked her to pay me back for this. Also, my boyfriend and I constantly buy her groceries and give her food we buy but will not eat. Additionally, we buy her son special items whenever he comes over for a sleepover. So, the incident happened 2 nights ago. My sister came over during the day to grab some gas money from my cash stash so she could take her kids to the water park. Absolutely, come get it. While in my house, she took the liberty to take a photo of the TV she left behind and post it on Facebook Marketplace for $100. I was not aware of this. At 7 p.m. that night, I get a text from her saying that 2 strangers will be at my home shortly to take the TV and asked me to collect the $100 for her. Mind you, my partner and I were actively watching a movie on that TV. I was livid. I called her and gave her a piece of my mind. Called her shady, said she was disrespectful and delusional if she thought that behavior was acceptable or normal in any way. I said it was bonkers for her to believe she could just do that without talking to me. She doubled down and reminded me it was her TV and I didn't have a say. She even went so far as to say I clearly couldn't care less about my nephews and that I was more concerned about my own convenience. Eventually, after some back and forth, I had my boyfriend send her $85 and told her we would be keeping the TV. She hasn't spoken to me since. So I am wondering, am I the a-hole? No, OP, you're not the a-hole. Your sister's a huge a-hole here. Sure, it's her TV, her property, but she should have at least let you know. I mean, that's the minimum amount of courtesy she would have for the one person who's actually helping her out financially. Which, by the way, maybe you want to rack up all that debt into a bill and send it to her. So no, OP, definitely not the a-hole. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Ice Cream Penis says, actually, it's not her TV. That abandoned property was your TV, and you should have kept your $85. Though that said, $85 is a fairly reasonable a-hole tax in the grand scheme. She'll come crawling back the second she figures out her cash cow and free babysitter is drying up. Don't lose sleep. Flat Replacement 4828 says, hell no, not the a-hole. That's her TV, but it's your freaking home. She can't invite people to your house, lol, especially when she ain't even there. You're supposed to just let some random strangers into your home? Like that's genuinely what she thought was going to happen? D. Scott 29 says, not the a-hole. It's her TV to sell. Yes, that also means it's on her to make the exchange, not just say, hey, the buyer is on the way, without talking to you beforehand. If she took it off the wall and you never saw it again, that's totally fine. But inviting strangers to your house without talking to you first is way wrong. And also expecting you to take it off the wall and make the exchange without her is crazy. And Aggressive Pie 1639 says, not the a-hole, but I think you know it's time to cut her off. Well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, so now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Thanks all for your input and feedback about this situation. Everyone has helped put this in perspective for me. I might not have been the a-hole in this situation, but I am certainly not doing myself or my sister any favors by continuing to allow her to use me. I will be working on my enabling behaviors. Now, for anyone who likes drama, she came by my house today and we had the worst fight of our relationship. It will be rocky at best moving forward. She was not willing to accept any criticism and stays firm that I am just a cold, evil person and I called her awful things for trying to sell her TV. I mean, she absolutely saw no fault in what she did and how she did it. So I'm done trying to convince her otherwise. My heart hurts, not for her and I, but at the idea I may see less of my nephews. I will stay strong and be better at setting healthy boundaries moving forward. Thank you. Well, it'll be good for you for standing up for yourself, and you're right, the best thing you can do for the both of you is not enable your sister anymore, so congrats on that too. Who knows, maybe this will give her the push she needs to work on herself. In any case, OP, here's wishing you the best. Take care and thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.